A very good morning to all the fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I'm Toastmaster Supriya, playing the role of Surgeon. I welcome you all to the third episode of Mastery. As everybody in life has a mission to achieve their goals. Likewise, our Toastmaster Club also has a Toastmaster Club is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication skills, resulting in greater confidence and personal growth. Before starting the meet, I would like to mention some ground rules to be respected in this session. Rule number 1. All the attendees must mute their audio at all times unless otherwise by MC. Rule number 2. Do not share your skills asked by the host. And rule number 3. As we don't talk about religion and politics. So please refrain from discussing these topics. Now, let us welcome a presiding officer who is a program quality for Division E and president of Oracle Hyderabad Toastmaster Club. She is also a member of Surti Telugu Toastmasters Club. She loves writing, singing, and learning things. I would like to hand over the stage to the president of Toastmaster Sirisha, so that I will be able to learn something new. Toastmaster Sirisha, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Supriya, for the wonderful introduction. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to the episode 3 of Evaluation Mastery. Those who didn't attend our previous 2 episodes of Evaluation Mastery, I would like to give them a brief introduction. As this is a contest season, to help all the Toastmasters with evaluation contest, our EFGHN cluster PQ team came up with this initiative, which is called Evaluation Mastery. This contains 5 episodes. We have already completed 2. In these 5 episodes, we have had 2 education sessions where we have heard from our senior Toastmasters who are our evaluation contest champions. To break this routine, as part of episode 3, we are conducting a panel discussion with 2021 evaluation contest champions from different districts. Let us learn from them today. To take this session forward, I would like to invite a Toastmaster who has been a Toastmaster for about a year, and she is from Hyderabad Toastmasters Club. She has been a district finalist for table topics and district semi-finalist for international speech contest. A Triple Crown winner, awarded Outstanding Toastmasters for Division E and Outstanding Toastmasters for District 98. Winner of Golden Feather and Golden Crown for Division E. She is none other than a Toastmaster Pragya. Welcome to Toastmaster Pragya. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sirisha, and I'm really obliged with the introduction that you have given. And good morning, everyone. I would request all of you to please turn on your videos. I know it's a lazy Saturday morning, but it's all needed. Because learning starts when we first face our fears. Great. Thank you so much for that. As we start now, I would request the Zoom master to adjust the audio and the chat settings, please. So good morning, Dynamic Toastmasters and esteemed guests. How are you feeling today? I welcome you all to this enthralling session of Evaluation Mastery. As Sirisha already told about a session a bit, let me tell you, at Cluster EFGHN of District 98, learning never stops. And that's why we are here from the program quality team with the 3rd episode of the 5-episode series of this exhilarating journey that we will be taking. In the first 2 episodes, we have learned about evaluation process, contest, and ballot a bit. But today, we are going to learn from the people who have done it. Have you by any chance missed our previous episodes? Don't worry, because as I said, learning never stops. It doesn't stop even with time. You can always go back to the YouTube channel of Division EFGHN cluster and find the previous episodes there. Let's get started with our today's session as I introduce you to our gorgeous and excellent panelists that we have today with us. It's always a step ahead to learn from the people who have been there, learned that, done their mistake, and now are there to share with us what not to do and what to do. Our experienced panelists today include Toastmaster Naga Shravanti. Toastmaster Naga Shravanti has been a Toastmaster since 2018. She represented her division at the Table Topics and the Evaluation Speech Contest in 2019 and 20 and secured second place in both. Toastmaster Shravanti is the Division 98 runner-up for the Evaluation Speech Contest in 2021 as well. I welcome you, Toastmaster Naga Shravanti, for today's episode. Next, we have Toastmaster Preeti. She has been no exception. She's a competent communicator and a competent leader. She's the District Evaluation Champion in 2021, Table Topic winner at division level, and she has won various other contests at club, area, and division levels. So I am sure we are going to have a lot of learning from you too, Toastmaster Preeti. Welcome to today's session. Do you think that's all? Did you forget learning never stops? So we also have our third panelist with us, who is Toastmaster Preeti. Who is Toastmaster Ruchira, who is, she's had multiple leadership positions at club roles, division, and extended district level teams, and has recently received the Outstanding Member Award. She is the runner-up of evaluation at District 41 and runner-up for ISC at District 41 this year. I welcome Toastmaster Ruchira for today's session. So my dear guests and Toastmasters, aren't you all excited? We have these three lovely panelists who have learned a lot in their journey, and today, hopefully they are going to tell us our secrets too. And that's why I once again welcome the honored panelists, and we look forward to a remarkable learning for all of us today. So Toastmaster Naga Shravanti, can I please also have Toastmaster Preeti spotlighted? Thank you. So Toastmaster Naga Shravanti, everybody says that evaluation is an art. People are born with it. They are amazing evaluators, probably before they were 3 months old. So do you believe that evaluation is just an art, or is it a skill that we all can develop?
Thanks everyone for this opportunity, and what a great start, Pragya. So I would say that evaluation is a mix of both what you said. Something is inbuilt and something is a skill that you can learn. If I have to explain, it would be like if you see evaluation is not a great thing, it's not a rocket science. All of us have this inbuilt thing of noticing when something does not match our expectations. That's simply what you do in an evaluation. You see a movie. If you think there is no logic, immediately strikes you. Or if you think it can be any conversation, or you generally go in there and you see a house painted in bright red. Some of you may like it and say, wow. Some of you say, please, because it is not normal according to you, either of the way. So that skill of noticing something which is above or below your average is what we all of us know. So I think my fellow panelists and all the other audience would agree with this. So something you already know, then what is the part you have to develop? So if the house is in bright red, you don't go to the owner and say, "Eeks, your house is dirty, I don't like it." No, that's the skill, how you express, or whether you should express something or not. is a skill you learn, is what I feel. And that comes with practice. So it's both. You already know something, how to put it in a way that helps you and the person you actually want to evaluate is what you have to learn or get tuned. Yes, I've seen some have it naturally, but I think for me it came with practice. Thank you, Pragya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nagin. And I am for sure somebody who hasn't got it even till the age of 30. I am still learning. So Toastmaster Preeti, Toastmaster Preeti, as Toastmaster Naga said, that it is also a learned skill, although some bit of it already exists. What do you think when contests come as a polisher of that skill? What is it that we need to look at when we are looking at a contest? How should we approach? What should be the mindset at that point of time?
So, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Pragya and Sirisha, for having me as a panelist here. And I'm glad to see great faces on screen. Yeah, so your question was, what is the contest perspective, right? Yeah. I would suggest whenever you go into a contest, don't be obsessed with what is going to be the result or the outcome. So I will just give you a short anecdote of my life. I started my journey as a Toastmaster in 2017. And I was just 2 months old and entered the area contest for evaluation. And I was extremely worried, oh, what are the results going to be? And I was not very comfortable on stage. 2018, I again went up to the contest. The fear was a little lesser than what it was in 2017, but there was an obsession. Oh, I hope I get this award, or I have to do it for the award. And it kept moving on until I came to the contest this year. And trust me, there was no obsession of what the result is going to be. I enjoyed the journey like any travel or like any other skill that you would learn. So if you ask me, what should be a contest mindset? I would say, don't be obsessed with the results. Leave it to the judges. Let them get obsessed with it. You enjoy, practice your evaluation skills, practice your fundamentals, be thorough with your job, and go ahead and enjoy that stage of the contest. So just to sum up, I would say, no obsession with the results. Work hard and leave the other things to the judges.
Toastmaster Preeti, and I think that is something which I surely need, because I came to the contest just like you 2 months after me joining, and I went with the mindset, as it is, I am new, nobody knows me, I should at least try, I will get something out of it. So that's how it goes. And as Toastmaster Naga said, Toastmaster Preeti said, Toastmaster Ruchira, I got to know that this was the first time you have competed in a contest. And I am sure that today in the meeting room, there might be many people who are not even willing to take that first step and are dead scared of it. So what were your outlook when you entered the contest for the first time and you reached till that stage?
Thank you so much for the question, Toastmaster Pragya. So to be honest, I had not thought about contests, about the evaluation contest, because I was just learning more about what are the different contests or what are the experiences. So when I was working in the PR team, the district PR manager reached out and said that, you know what, you should try for evaluations. And I was like, okay, I've just given maybe 1 or 2 speech evaluations at my club level. So what exactly are you talking about? So what he then did was send me a couple of links of YouTube videos of evaluations, evaluation champions, or perhaps evaluation workshops. And then as I began to go through those videos, I began to see, okay, this is what this is all about. This is the structure. And he advised me to give evaluations at the club level, as many as I can at different clubs. And because things moved virtually, I was able to visit a lot more clubs in a shorter amount of time. So I went and I evaluated at every part, and I found that I enjoy evaluations. And I'm not sure whether that's the natural, judgy part coming out or whatever it is. I enjoyed the evaluation process. And then when the first club contests came around and I actually won at that level, that's when I began to look at it a little more seriously, like, okay, this is something maybe that I could end up, doing a little better in. So I then started a little bit of preparation, and I was guided by a couple of mentors as well. But yeah, it was definitely something that I'd not thought of when the year started off.
Then I must say, a lot of people sitting in the room should at least go with that outlook, that try, maybe you win that club contest, who knows? So Toastmaster Naga, when we try things, we always face failures. I've heard that for any success, failure is inevitable. If you accept that, you are on a right journey. So you might also have faced these kind of failures in your journey reaching till here. So what was your experience? And the best part, the main thing is that when we face these failures, we try to retract back. We don't want to go ahead. What did you do at that point of time to still keep trying and keep going?
Okay. So I don't, I mean, this has come with experience, because the first time I didn't succeed, I was definitely bogged down by it. Because you try something, you expect something, and as Preeti said, the first time, oh my God, what is it going to be? Who are these audience? I mean, I didn't even know my first contest last year. So who are the audience? What do they think? What won't they think? You know, too much emphasis on what they think or who they are. So that's it. Define they depends on the context. But expect me looking at what all my surroundings is thinking or doing, or how do I prepare, you know? So that's where I didn't succeed. And I definitely think that when you don't succeed, or when you don't match your expectation of success for a certain thing, I found that the minute you finish giving a speech, you realize, oops, I should have included this. Did any of you have that? You know, you don't have to wait for another person to come and tell you what was good. So similar thing, last time context, last year at the division level, the first time I was too scared, because out of the 5 participants who were competing with me, 4 of them were area directors or division directors or something in the past. So they had spoken to, like, say 100 people and many times on stage. I was the underdog there. The first thing was, oh my God, that person, oh my God, this person, right? So more than actually going and attempting, I doubted myself and failed myself in my own thoughts and expectations. That was the thing that happened the first time. Okay, but that was a really good learning experience. I got on stage, I looked at people, I was like, that's it. I just have a speaker. They have spoken something. I make my notes. I just concentrate on my preparation, my notes, and talking to the speaker. But I don't look only at the speaker, I look at, in general, at the audience. My task is done. Now in that 3 minutes, I don't have time to think what did person A think about me, B think. I can't even look at everyone, you know, because I have to finish my script, also present it. So I thought everything is in my head. So don't fail in your head, don't doubt yourself. And second time, if I have to say that this year's contest, when I went to the district level, I prepared very less compared to last year. Because I think the major thing there was a mindset change that, hey, focus on yourself. Right? And of course, training my mentors or, you know, my last year's preparation, that came in very handy. So prepare and don't doubt yourself. You are a winner always for yourself.
That's a great learning, and especially at this time when most of us are in doubts of how we are going to do, the best thing you can do, as Toastmaster Naga said, do not give up in your head and do not bother who's sitting next to you. Those 3 minutes are yours. Make them yours. You will not get it back the same minutes again. That's a great lesson. So Toastmaster Preeti, you have also been through the same experiences and you've tried so many times, and there might be many failures or probably not the level of success which you expected. I wouldn't call it a failure. So we always take lessons from each of the contests that we do. What was your key lesson which you felt went through all these contests and you kept learning it every single time, and that really helped you winning this particular contest?
Okay. You'll have to tell me whose quote is this. Success is not final and failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Does someone know whose quote is this? This is from Winston Churchill. So any journey is never a full stop. You continue on the journey and you have a lot of lessons, be it your school, be it your home, be it your office. Every day is a new lesson to you. So if you ask me, what did I learn from my failures? First thing is, as Naga Sravanti said, it's all in the mindset. I never considered coming back from the area with a second runners-up trophy as a failure. For me, it was a win-win. I had a little trophy in my cupboard. If I came back from the division without a trophy, it was absolutely okay because I was there on stage while there were 700 or 800 people watching me downstairs who wished I could at least just go and stand on that stage. So if I've learned something during this entire journey, it's that don't give up. And every time you come back home, either with a little trophy or with a no trophy, you're not a loser because your lessons are there with you. For example, in one of the contests, I saw that one of the evaluators used great body language on stage. And when I came down, I said, oh, body language could be used in evaluation, is it? And then as I started researching and going through my evaluation details, learning evaluation, I got to know that evaluation is a speech and you're a performer and you perform on the stage, you do voice modulation, you use stage movement. So that was learning for me. So every step that I lost or I came back with a little one was a learning from the other evaluators who were there on the stage, from the way the judges judged, from the way the audience reacted, from the way I made new friends. I'm from Hubli, but I've got a huge gang of Toastmaster friends in Bangalore. So I didn't lose anything. I got more friends. So I would say success or failure doesn't matter, guys. It's the journey, and take lessons from every step that you move into.
And that's a true learning, which even I got from my contest. One of my mentors said that, remember, Pragya, you will never be the same person once you have been in the contest. You will always be growing in leaps and bounds because you know what you need to look for. And I think that is something which you all have done at different stages, learning from the events which have happened. So Toastmaster Ruchira.
I have to add something to this, Pragya, and this is for all the Toastmasters. So one great learning that I had from all these failures in the past, or what you call not winning on the stage in the past, is when you get down, you feel, oh my God, is everyone looking at me? Did I not perform well? But when you come down, you see there are Toastmasters who you don't even know, and they give you a pat on your back. They say, well done, Preeti. And you come down and said, yeah, your opening was amazing, yeah, and you ended in a splendid manner. And then while you're on the lunch table, there are a couple of other newcomers who are in Toastmasters and say, ma'am, you did very well, ma'am. Even we wish to learn evaluation. So that is what I learned. I do it with other people on stage now because other people did it with me and I felt so good at that time. And I do it with newcomers and that makes me and them feel good too. So
that's what is the beauty of Toastmasters, that we are all so appreciative of each other and we're always there to boost somebody up. I think this is the only place where we are not trying to pull people down in this whole wide world. So Toastmaster Ruchira, as this is the first time you have contested, I want to question, I have this question both for, say, Toastmaster Naga and Toastmaster Ruchira. You went for the first time. What was the mindset with which you went on that particular stage? What was going on in your head? The anxieties, the fears, what was it? And how did you control it when you stepped on that stage? I mean, not stepped literally, but yes, now in the Zoom. How was it? And same thing, Toastmaster Naga, because you had done it before, you had the changes in your mindset. So were the anxieties, the fears, which all of us as newbies face, were they still there? And how did you control it? Toastmaster Ruchira first.
Thank you. So I would definitely agree with that. What Toastmaster Naga said, that underdog feeling was definitely there, because as you go up through the levels, you realize that the people that you're competing against are perhaps past champions themselves. So I reached a point where I was questioning, like, okay, what am I even doing here? How do I compete at this? So I think over there, what really came into factor was in terms of helping me keep a fixed mindset was some of the things my mentors would say, which is that it's about you and your evaluation, not about what the others have evaluated. So focus on making sure that in those 3 minutes, 30 seconds, you deliver the best evaluation you can. And even if you don't win, at the end of the day, if you are satisfied with what you've done and how you feel, then that is something that would overcome any kind of perhaps negative emotion that you might feel. But that's on the day itself. But when it comes to getting over the anxiety, I believe that being prepared is the key over here. So there's a two kind of aspect. I believe that it's a paradoxical mix of actually being serious and having fun. So it's serious in terms of the preparation, in terms of making sure that you have your solid basics in place, you've practiced your evaluations, and you're confident in the content that you're going to deliver, and as well as having fun, because once that test speaker starts, it's just like a bubble. It's you and the test speaker, and you write down everything that you notice and you deliver your evaluation. And I think that's something that really helps overcome who looking left and right as to who the competitors are.
Toastmaster Naga, because you had competed at that moment when you climb that stage and you're standing and those bubbles are coming in, what do you do at that point of time?
Okay. So as you said, I have experience of one time speaking on stage in front of people and once on the virtual platform this year. So I noticed the difference was when I get onto the stage, I didn't notice anything because I went about half an hour early to see what the stage is. I prepared walking left to right. I was just standing there. I mean, people didn't come. Even the organizers were doing something in the back there, so they didn't stop me from climbing on the stage. So first thing I thought was, okay, my competitors are area level. I mean, as Ruchira said, maybe past winners or some other leadership posts who have experience talking. So what is my advantage? I can go early. I can see what that is because I understood that is my performance as well. So just if I tell the speaker, use the timeline, walk on stage from here to here to here, for example, I should show that when I'm giving them that point. So I got onto the stage, familiarized myself, and 10-15 minutes, I was just going up the stairs, coming down. I mean, it was up to me because the stage was not ready yet. No one really stopped me. So familiarize yourself if it's a physical area. If it's a virtual area, I think the best thing was I just switch off my speakers until the contest is done after I speak. Because I get nervous, I don't want that to spoil my performance. So with due respect to my fellow contestants, I try to maintain my focus by turning off this the speaker thing till they call out my name or whatever is that. So second thing, yes, please. Yes, Radha.
I think this is something which also happens as post the delivery of the contest. We spend that much of time in the anxiety, listening to the other speakers of how well they are doing and demotivating ourselves at that point of time.
Yeah. So because each one has their own style. So as Preeti said, maybe some people are very good with their gestures and stuff. Now I shouldn't get scared. Oh my God, I didn't do it. What is that? No, that is the judge's headache after the speech. My thing is only to get onto the stage, talk and come back. My 3 minutes of fame and my speakers 5 minutes or 7 minutes that, they're conversing with me. Second thing I've seen is what helps is knowing the context. And to prepare for this, I would suggest pick up evaluations at the different club levels, not in the contest, because for other things you have the project objectives. If you see, they would tell you if it's an introduction speech or the first speech that somebody is giving, icebreaker, what are the things you should notice? So similarly for second project, third project. So how I train myself is try to stick to the focus because there may be 100 points and you like, but I shouldn't go and talk everything. There's not enough time for my performance. So to practice sticking to focus so that in the end, in the context, when you have some speaker and you have 10 good points or maybe 3 or 4 you don't like, by then your mind is well trained to pick just 2 good things or 1 or 2 things that need recommendation. So all that mental exercise is done already. Your mind is tuned. So you can just focus on what's happening and deliver your performance. That helped me a lot. So, I mean, once I started practicing that, I don't feel anxious anymore.
Thank you so much, Naga, for that. And now as we have understood the mindset which really goes behind all these people have faced it, curbed their anxieties and been on that stage, the next part comes is the technical part of it. So I am going to now get to the questions which most of us as first time or second time evaluators have these questions. The first question which comes to my mind, especially when we go to area level or division or district level, we feel, wow, he is such an amazing speaker. I have heard this speaker before and I really don't think he has anything wrong in his speech. And that is something which creates even more kind of a anxiety and fear in us that he's a DTM or he's stuff like that. I know that person kind of a thing. So how do you take this thing off your mind and evaluate the person only on the basis of speech? How do you remove the halo effect that is created sometimes by the personality, sometimes by the way person speaks, language, the usage of words, or probably just the style of speaking? How do you remove that and go back to the speech? Yes, Ruchira.
Yeah, so for this, what I found was that evaluating the past world champion public speakers really helps you break this down, because they are at the pinnacle of being the best speakers that are there. So when I initially tried evaluating one of their speeches, I was absolutely blank. And I had my reference sheet next to me because I was just practicing an evaluation and I still couldn't find any points. But what that really taught me was to challenge myself to evaluate. If you can evaluate the best of the best speakers, then you can overcome that halo effect that you were talking about. And remember that at the end of the day, we're evaluating a speech and not the speaker. So to look at the three basic things, which is content, structure, and delivery that is being dealt with. And I'd like to add one point to what Toastmaster Naga said, that when it came to the different evaluations at different club levels, those speeches have a project objective which is there, which makes one point of either commendation or recommendation quite easy, because you either meet the objective or you don't. But what I tried to do was explore and try and evaluate as many different kinds of projects there were, so that you'd start thinking about what are the different kinds of speeches and what are the kind of different evaluation criteria you have, which are particular to different kinds of speeches.
So, Toastmaster Preeti, on the same note, as I asked, the halo effect works, and a lot of people have this issue that I don't know how to evaluate the content. Most of us will give and review on little bit part of content, and other parts will include body language, verbal communication, and all the other things which I can speak about. So how do I focus, and what are the key points do you think we should pick up in the content part of it?
So I usually don't go into too much of depth into the content of the speaker, because I feel that is his copyright. I mean, if Pragnya really wants to present something in her speech, that's her wish. That's her desire from the heart that she's written, and that's what she wants to present to the people. Maybe she has a message that she wants to give to the audience, and she gives it her way. So I usually do not comment on the content of the speech at all. Maybe just a passing remark or something would be if there is too much of a content in a speech. For example, if the speaker has used around 10 points in the speech and we are all confused, in the end, it's a big bundle of confusion in my mind, then I would probably say, why don't you think reducing your content to just 3 points leading to the key message? I think that would have a better effect on me, is what I would say. But I would never go ahead and say, you had a dog in your story, and I feel, why did you have a dog in the story? You could have actually thought about someone else. So this is what I usually do not do. So I would say, reduce the content, evaluation, keep it aside and focus more on the fundamentals. See, as an evaluator, you just have 3 minutes. And these 3 minutes are for someone who's practiced his speech for months together. So you as an evaluator, whether you're in the club or in the contest, even from the winning perspective, see that it's all about the speaker and you have to help the speaker get better. So focus more on fundamentals like body language, like voice modulation, like usage of stage, like the way, whether he has a theme or not, whether he has a key message. So all these, when you have so many important things for the person to improve on, why go and comment too much on the content? So a little bit is okay, but focus more on basic fundamentals of public speaking is what I would say. To add to what Ruchira said, I just had a point. She said that she went ahead and looked at winning winning speeches and tried doing an evaluation. Ruchira, I did it. And I had a tough time. I was like, what is there to evaluate in the speech? He's moving around the stage like a dancer. His voice modulation is just perfect. He has a theme, he has a central message. What do I look into? And there were sometimes sleepless nights. What do I do if the speaker is like this? What do I do in an evaluation? That's when my mentor asked me to focus on fundamentals of public speaking, fundamentals of the international speech contest. So when you go ahead and study the fundamentals of the ISC, you find out points quickly into the some points of recommendations and improvements for this any kind of speech, I would say.
So as Toastmaster Preeti said, about 3 points in the speech is what is a good idea. a lot of people, Toastmaster Naga also says that in your evaluation, it is better to have 3 points of commendation and then 2 points of recommendation and stuff like that. So do you, firstly, do you think that yes, it is needed to have those 3 points, even if you're not finding one, you need to have those 3 points from somewhere? And secondly, what do you think when I have 10 points in my mind, I am probably too good a critic or an evaluator, whatever you call me, and I have literally noted down on every single line, how do I prioritize on which stage, whether content, whether delivery, what stage should I finalize my 3 points and 2 points on? Toastmaster Naga.
Okay, Pragya, that's a good point. So what I would say is, okay. Now you've got 10 points, as you said. It can be content or it can be even points of delivery. Right. So first thing, would you like watching a movie with no subtitles? No message sent out to you, basically just signals. Maybe a little you can tolerate. Maybe 2 minutes for me, 5 minutes for you, but you can tolerate it for a little time. So just the gestures is not going to help you. Gestures is wonderful, but I don't understand a word of what they're saying, right? So look for that disconnect. So it has to be an equal proportion, or at the same time, it can't be a very high, as if they're presenting a report, they go on talking in a monotonous tone and you're like, please, I don't understand, give me a pause. So what is the most important thing that struck you there? And as I said, those points, don't take my points 3 as literal. It depends on the speech. But what I would suggest is have one more recommendation than a commendation. Because the point of an evaluator is also to encourage the speaker to do well. They should feel happy with what they did and continue. It's not like after my speech evaluation, Pragya just feels like, oh my God, I'm a very bad speaker. I don't want to write anymore. That is not the intention. It's for me and my speaker to learn and grow together. So I give some point, but content is definitely important. Try to watch that without like a meme sort of a thing. You can't have it for a long time. So content is important. So look for 1 or 2 things. The logic, basically, wherever you think the speaker changed the point and you're not able to figure it out, or they've assumed something or made a generalization. I like this, I don't like this, or everybody doesn't like this. That's not true. Some people may like it. So look for some generalizations, assumptions, because I may know Hindi. So if Pragya talks something in Hindi, I pick it up. What about the other audience? So though I'm speaking from my point of view, what if I didn't know Hindi? You could have translated something into a common language, basically. And the logic, the basics to get content right, apart from any other vocabulary or anything you may get. Yes. So you prioritize that way.
Yeah, so I understand how this is to be done. And one query which I always have in my mind, when I learn evaluation from the ballot, how the points are being given, what I normally do is I also take the ISC ballot with me. So I want to see in ISC ballot, 50 points are given only for the content and the organizing of the speech and all these things. So what I do is, as an evaluator, it is always in my mind that because these 50 points is something the judges see, as an evaluator, I should also be focusing on these particular aspects. So when people say that it is okay to tell the commendations on the body language and all these things, and especially in the virtual stage right now, people might not have the privilege to use the area available or probably the setups available to many other. So how would you tell people to pick up the points from the content, say transition or stuff like that? What are the things which they can at least focus for these 50 points which are there for the ISC? What are the pickup points, I would say, in a content which people can, especially newbies, because for newbies, it is very difficult to read and understand the transitions of the content at times. So what are the pickup key points which you would suggest? Probably Ruchira, what did you pick up?
So Toastmaster Pragya, I think that over here, I'll just add with what Toastmaster Naga said, that wherever there's a disconnect in logic, that's the point which we're looking for. Like when you write a speech, like because you're an evaluator, it also makes you a better person in terms of crafting your speech, because you yourself are looking out for those points when you're creating your own speech. So whether it's the traditional introduction, body, conclusion pattern, or whether it's a circular pattern where, you know, the conclusion echoes some sentiment from the introduction, what I think is very important is the flow of a speech. As you transition from one idea to another, are there those connecting points that really move from one point to another? So in terms of content, I think it can be handled as the structuring of the speech. Like, do you have 3 problems, 3 solutions? Are they mapped together? Or do you have a personal story with the message? Because it's not necessary that the speech that is being evaluated, like the test speaker speech, is not necessarily always an ISC speech. So we need to be able to identify what style of speech it is as soon as the speaker starts, whether it's motivational, whether it's humorous, or whether it's inspirational, whether it's a tragedy. And you can actually find out evaluation points that are unique to a style of speech. So I think that's where the style of speech and evaluation can actually really be connected as such. Now, when you talked about the judges ballot in terms of the ISC structuring, having points for the structuring of the speech, I think as an evaluator, that's one of the skills that we learn, which is multitasking, which is to listen, to read, and to write and watch at the same time, because we're trying to juggle a lot of things. We're trying to analyze the content that the speaker is speaking, as well as look at them in terms of their body language and gestures and everything, as well as note down as much as possible so that we can refer to their content. So I think that's a skill that comes with more practice. So I think that's something that we can all definitely take care of.
Okay, so one question last related to the style of speaking. A lot of people have different styles of giving evaluations. Like we have different methods of sandwich method and this and that, and a lot of people will have acronyms of that. So how many of you would suggest to go for methods other than the standard sandwich method? So I probably, you can raise a hand and let people know on that particular part that it is okay to go beyond that particular method. And secondly, how would you suggest, because when we are in the room for 5 minutes, the breakout rooms where we are sent, do you actually write your notes while the speaker is speaking, or do you wait, listen to the speaker, and then go back to that room where you're writing? Does this happen that you forget half of the points which you thought when the speaker was speaking? How do you write them down? And because the 3 minute is also a speech, it is my stage time, how do I suddenly, when I'm already writing the points, convert it into a speech? Both the points. So probably Toastmaster Naga and can go ahead first, and then Toastmaster Preet.
All right. So I'm sorry, I forgot the first part of the question. You were articulating it so well, I just got lost in that.
So the first point is that, do you listen to the person first and then go to the breakout room and write it? Or do you start writing your points then and there?
All right. So what I would do is, there's a first thing, with practice, this comes. Okay. And that thing is to notice your average, or just get aware of your average. When I say average, it's like if some people are using a little bit of gestures, you're fine with it, you don't notice it. But if they keep dancing on stage, for some people, it's absolutely fine. But for me, I get lost in that I forgot, excuse me, what did you say? I'm enjoying it, right? So in that case, I would know that, okay, there is a disconnect with the speech and the action for me. This is my terms, right? In my own words, I'm not generalizing it. That's what I have to make it clear. So what I do, so when that comes, okay, the starting. Did I like the starting? It was a normal starting. Okay. So maybe it would be down in one of the priority points would be much lesser if I want to point it out. Or if I say that starting is too boring for the title and the content, or too great, I was like, hey, what is the speaker just doing? If I'm just lost and glued to him, that is a point I make. This is something very good. Tick it. And if possible, either the action or the words that caught my attention, I note it down. Because in evaluation, it's important to say what was good and why it was good for you, according to me. And when I give some recommendations, what was not good, why I did not think it was good. So for me, if it was not good, that means I should have some answer to say, hey, you practice this, or you give a better pause, or you change your voice pitch and the loudness of your voice. So something I should also practice it. I should convey it because it's my presentation, my time. Same time, I should make that it. So pick quickly which is above or below my expectation and use the exact word so that because the speaker has written that speech, it'll click instead of saying, yeah, that point was good. So which point should we go to now? Have focus. And the second thing I've learned, I think for your second part of when you said that, what about the presentation for the evaluator? Because that's his or her speech as well. Again, I realized this after I failed the first time in evaluation, that whether any of my audience is listening to the first 30 seconds of my evaluation or stays for the entire evaluation or comes only for the summary, due to whatever reason they're able to pay attention for that time, they should have a takeaway. So that's why I felt in the beginning, I pick up some element from the speaker. And then I say, hi, in your thing, 1, 2, 3 were great. Or 1 and 2 were great. 1 could be done differently. So even if you listen to the first 30 seconds, you have some takeaway from me. Then I elaborate it. Then again, I close up by wrapping it up. Back to you, Pragya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Naga. And in lieu of time, as we are towards the end of the session, I have a very peculiar question for all of you over here, and I would really want you to answer. What are the 3 points which you would want either a newbie or a veteran to always remember when we are on that stage and talking to that person who's the speaker? What are something which we should always keep in mind?
I think the first thing that you have to always keep in mind is that you should have a genuine desire to help the speaker. Remember, evaluation is about the speaker, and you have no right to draw attention to yourself. Don't tell your stories to the audience and probably gather attention to yourself. So see that every nanosecond of your evaluation is being used to give some feedback or some good points to the speaker. So that's my first point. Second one is whether the speakers focus on the fundamentals of public speaking were good or not. And the third one, whether his fundamentals of evaluation were, his fundamentals of speech writing were good or not. So I would say 3 key elements that you have to focus on is, first, it's about the speaker and not about you. Second is, how are the fundamentals of the public speaker? And see that once you have given your evaluation, the speaker is feeling good and he has recommendations to take away home to actually work on and become a better speaker. And the key element is what I would actually say is some problem with my...
You're mute.
Yeah. So they are my points. Focus on the speaker, see how his fundamentals are, and see how his speech skills are. So see, that's very important.
Okay, can I ask Toastmaster Ruchira?
Yeah, so Toastmaster Pragya, I'd say that when it comes to evaluating the speech, it's really important to understand whether the clarity of thought that the speaker had while writing the speech, is it something that has been conveyed? So that's the metric to understand how successful the speech was. The second thing is, as Toastmaster Preeti also mentioned, that the key objective of an evaluation is to benefit the speaker. So when we give the recommendations in particular, do we also add the how they can improve, not just point out the where they can improve, because that shows the genuine care from the evaluator to the speaker, because at the end of the day, they need something to take back so that something actionable that they can actually work upon. And I think that's more or less what the key takeaway would be as well.
And Toastmaster Naga, 3 points from you.
3 points from me is, as Preeti said, speaker is the favorite actor of the day. Pay attention to the speaker. That's the first thing, right? Second thing, you are an evaluator. That means you are also testing and practicing your skills. So when the speaker is speaking, completely be very critical. No, this is illogical. This is not this. Hey, that is great. Whatever it is, that is test of your skill of how you can make points or notice things. So be very critical when you're doing that. Third thing, you've been very critical, but again, remember, you are a friend of the speaker. See the speaker see yourself in the speaker. So when you convey it as if you're talking to yourself or to a friend. So you pick up only the key point. You've been critical. Step 2 is for your improvement. right? Just because you made critical notes of 10 points, don't throw them onto the speaker's face. Speak to yourself, speak calmly when you're speaking to the speaker, and convey only the 2 or 3 points that will help the speaker improve and the other audience also have a carry away point to take away.
To add to this, Pragnya, I would say that one very important point from the contest perspective is you are a performer on stage too as an evaluator. So you just cannot come, just like Naga said, you have a speaker who comes and just talks something and then you're not able to understand it or relate to it. Similarly, when you are giving an evaluation, if there is someone who joins in the first second of your speech or in between, he should always find your evaluation very entertaining and very nice. So see that as a speaker, as an evaluator, you are performing all the skills of a public speaker on the stage. So that makes your evaluation a must watch for all of them. So focus should be on the speaker, but see that you are a public speaker. So
I think Toastmaster Preeti is having bad network. So, so you will get to answer a lot of questions also, Ruchira. Yes.
I'd just like to add one line to what both said, is that when it comes to the contest, it's also really important to remember that an evaluation is something that is personalized, because it's one speaker and say 8 or 10 evaluations. So the key is also to remember that our evaluations should be our unique points of view. So I think that's what really helps you stand out when you're competing against a large number of people, because it's a personalized take on someone's speech. So that's one more thing.
Thank you so much for this amazing, exhilarating, and I think unmatched session that we have had today. We had the learnings probably which each of us would take back, and I am sure all of us today sitting in this room are now all excited to compete, because that's why we are all here. That's why we are listening to these amazing people and their learnings, so that we don't fail on the same points. And that's what I love about these sessions. So with this, we are now open to the question and answer session. If any of the audience here have any queries about evaluation, you can post it to the host and we will brief it to the panelist. If there's any particular panelist that you would need to ask, you can also write down their names with your question, please. So while we are waiting for the questions to pop in, I know people will take time to type. Nowadays, the world is not open as much as it was there. So Toastmaster Naga, Toastmaster Preeti, and Toastmaster Ruchira, my question is that, do you guys still get anxiety when you're on stage? Is it still the same feeling? I know we are all confident and we have done it before and we've been there, but still does it happen? Those 2-3 minutes before you step on that stage and
Toastmaster, I think it's actually worse now, because once you've won at a level, then people have their eyes more fixed on you, and you actually have something to lose at a point. Because when we were contesting up till now, at least from me, I at least felt that, okay, even if I fail, it's okay, it's not a problem. But right now, I think I feel that pressure a little bit more while giving even an evaluation at a club level. So I think that's something I need to personally work on to get back to enjoying giving evaluations.
No, to add to this, Ruchira, I would tell you, so after I've won the contest and I go to my club and there is a new member who's doing an evaluation, and then I'm giving an evaluation and the general evaluator gives me such a huge introduction, yeah. And then I go ahead and sometimes you just go ahead without any, you're not doing your best job at the club on that day, and the other speaker wins. So the only thing that I've learned through these contests is, for me now, the win or the lose doesn't matter, but the introduction that the general evaluator gives me is something that brings a lot of focus on me. So, but one thing is that it's absolutely okay to win and lose. And this is one particular attitude that you learn after going to contests after contest after contest. So
yeah, absolutely agree, Toastmaster Preeti.
We have a question in the chat box for you. So the first question is, how do we begin the evaluation? How do we begin? So this question is by Geeta Kashyap. Are you asking about how to start learning evaluation, or is it about the start of the contest?
No, I'm talking about the beginning. How do we begin? Is it with the quote or something for the contest?
What should be the enchanting start of an evaluation, which gets us more points probably on the ballot.
Exactly.
I would like to answer this. So I think this depends on each evaluator. He can have his own choice. But if you ask me what I did in my evaluation, I can tell this to you. So usually what I do is I pick up one very good point of recommendation, a very good point of the speaker's speech, and try to put it in the opening of my speech.
Yeah.
So what happens is I've already covered one good point, and I already have the audience I've already hooked the audience with the start. So probably if she has purple in her speech, then even I try to use something from her speech so that the audience is hooked and a positive point from the speaker's speech is used. So I would suggest, rather than starting with something very probably putting into attention on yourself, pick up some relevant good point from the speaker's speech and put it into the start of your speech. So you already have given one good point in the start, and you have extra time to cover the recommendations later on.
The next question, probably Toastmaster Ruchira can answer this one. So somebody has asked, how important is it to practice evaluation?
Okay.
Is it okay to directly try for the contest and learn?
So Toastmaster Pragya, for the person who asked the question, at least on a personal note, I believe practicing is really important. It's not the amount of months or number of months that you've actually practiced, but how well you practice. So even if you have maybe a week, you can, in a virtual scenario, at least take up 5 evaluations. So that's not the real issue. But one thing that once I decided that I was going to go for the contest, when I prepared even at the club level, was that when we give a contest level evaluation, we usually have a white piece of paper and we have the points written and all. So what I did is that every time I gave an evaluation at a club level, I treated it as if I were giving it at a contest. So I had an A4 sheet of paper so that I would become quite used to the format of writing down and reading out from my own paper in the same format as I would during a contest, with boxing the points, or so that it's quite easy to read, because sometimes if you're reading the paper and you can't understand your own handwriting, then you get stuck and you fumble. So making sure that every evaluation that you give, whether at a club level or anywhere else, is in the contest format, really allows you to just ease into the entire pattern of giving an evaluation at a contest.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ruchira. And now the next question to Toastmaster Nagashravanti. Somebody's asked that while the speaker was speaking, I missed out a few seconds or 1 or 2 minutes of the speech because of some glitches, maybe a concentration loss. What do I write on the evaluation blank paper then?
So I think out of the 5 to 7 minutes, if you missed a few seconds, that's all right. Because you win in your head first before you go on stage and give some performance. Don't concentrate on that 10 seconds you lost and miss out the other 6 minutes and 50 seconds of speech. So as Preeti said, as Ruchira said, so I found a similar technique as Preeti, and that came with practice, of course, that when the speaker is speaking, I'm glued, and whatever is the key point, I started in the same way. So for one of my contests, it was about safety rules and other things. So when I started off, I noted the content and I had just like this. Then I said, okay, now let me remove my mask. So at least the point is clear that I received the speaker's message about safety, and given these conditions, right now, mask is a must if you go out and meet people. So at least the audience and the speaker, you already connected on a personal note saying that, hey, I got your message. So that's what we want, right? The entire 7-minute speech or my 3-minute speech is to exchange that key message with other anecdotes and other things that we fill in to get the message across. So do that. So that's
question says that there are different formats of presenting an evaluation. Some use sandwich method and some use recommendation or some other formats. So is it, what can you tell the names of other formats which are existing? And also, is it important to add a challenge in the end, or does a summary only work? So Toastmaster Preeti.
You can have, I think, who asked this question? I would like to address her.
Toastmaster Santoshi.
Yeah, so Santoshi, you can have a burger, you can have a bhel puri, you can have a sandwich, you can have any name for your evaluation, as far as you're having some good points for the speaker to really feel good. some recommendations so that he comes back with a better presentation as a public speaker next time. And then a summary, because just like the previous question, if the speakers miss 10 seconds of your evaluation, in the summary, he knows what he has to actually do. So this is very important. So you can call the evaluation however you wish to. To challenge yourself is a point that I've seen a couple of evaluators use on stage. So I would say tricks can be very different and, your own choice. For example, I used positive points, points to progress, and points to ponder in my speech. There was another evaluator who was there along with me, and he used a beautiful acronym in his speech. So from the contest perspective, no doubt, I would say this draws, this does give you a few brownie points. So if you have a point like to challenge yourself, like how I had points to ponder, does help as far as your positive points, your recommendations, your summary are all taking proper amount of time, and you don't rush with the extra point just to fit it inside. If you're planned, then I think it's good to use something new into your evaluation technique.
Thank you, Toastmaster Preeti. And one last quick question, probably Toastmaster Nag can answer this quickly. The person asked that we normally in evaluation, we give our point of view. Is it also recommended to use general statements telling others' perspectives about the topic?
I would say not to do that, right? Because you are telling the speaker that don't generalize or assume that everybody knows what you're saying. Similarly, when you are giving your evaluation speech, you don't assume on behalf of all the other audience. You stay particular to the context that this is your speech, this is my evaluation. And one key point I couldn't cover earlier is that once you start evaluating 2 or 3 evaluations, make sure you give a speech. Because without you noticing all your evaluation points, you'll see that the draft itself is of a different quality than it was earlier. So it's your own cycle of improvement before you go out and teach others or other ones.
So actually, my mentor told me this. After I finished my evaluation, he said, now you should start writing a speech and you'll know your quality of speech is much better than what it was earlier.
Yeah, I also agree here. And I just wanted to add one point to what Toastmaster Preeti also mentioned in the previous question, that when it comes to the conclusion, after the summary, one thing that really helped me also was that I found that one part of the speech that the speaker gave that really touched me personally. And I made sure I ended that way on a really positive note, saying how I was inspired, something that was particular to me because the evaluation is coming from me. So how does that stand different from any other evaluator?
Thank you so much, all our amazing panelists that we've had today. I think it was an enthralling session and I couldn't stop taking it longer, but time is something which always binds us, and so is it doing us today. So as we have had the questions answered, the outlooks shared, and the tips and tricks that they have used in all their sessions have been shared with us. And I'm really hoping that you have shared most of them. No secrets. So let me just give an overview of the session that happened now for all of our guests to understand what were the key points that have been told. The thing which immediately caught my attention was you win in your mind. And I think that is the kind of a mindset we all need to go. Don't lose in your mind before you have even started speaking on the particular evaluation. It was also told in the session that yes, although there might be people who are extremely blessed and have been evaluating from the time they were born, but it is still a learned skill and we can all learn, develop, and practice it to master it. Also, do not be obsessed. It's okay. You are trying something new. Just go with the idea of trying, learning, experiencing, and growing rather than having an obsession of what the people around you are like, what the judges are going to mark you, or whether the stage is too big for you. Because remember, you are doing it for yourself. The session also told me about the nitty-gritties of the points that I need to keep in focus when I am evaluating. And the best of that was, remember, you are a friend of the speaker, but still a critic. And that instantly reminded me of my best friend, because she's the perfect example of a perfect evaluator. She would always tell me the things which I need to improve on, but she's also there to motivate me to grow further. And probably that's what you need to be to that particular person. And remember, it is all about you. It is your perspective. You can never say what other felt about that particular evaluation. If I liked it, I would never say the audience here have liked it, because probably somebody sitting in that room might be telling, why is this person even standing and speaking there? Doesn't matter. It's all about how you felt. Be critical, be open, and tell them true, honest points of improvement, because that's what the speaker is looking for. That's where the speaker is going to grow. We also understood the method that there are different types of evaluation, different methods that you can use for evaluation, and it is your own style that you grow with and develop. So all of you who love Pani Puri probably can make it a Pani Puri presentation, and all of you who loves burgers or sandwiches can probably try that one. It's all in your hands. One few things which we need to focus when we are doing the evaluation is content, the delivery of the person, the connect that has been created in the speech, the clarity of and the flow of the speech are something which we need to focus on. And for people like me who really get into a mode where we are lost in listening to the speakers, still remember, we are in a contest. We are being marked on a ballot. So come back to your thoughts and start evaluating. Also, there are few people who would note down the points or the key areas which they feel, as Toastmaster Naga said, you can write it on a white paper, the points that you felt you would want to speak about, and probably go into that 5 minutes room and write down and explain those particular points. One thing which probably I would want to add over here, which I got from the crux, is during those 5 minutes, you need to prepare a speech, because you are also a speaker, and evaluation speech contest is at last a speech contest. So you need to have an opening, body, and ending. The ending needs to have a summary. The opening can be the way you want. Pick up a favorite quote, select something from the speaker who has spoken, or if you don't get anything, probably just start, because you are waiting to be marked there. Other than that, it has been a lovely session, and I had number of points. I can't even brief. There are so many. I've filled my white sheet. But I really hope that all the audience sitting over here had their own set of learnings and had their own set of questions answered, because we are all unique sitting here in this room. With this, I will now request the Zoom master to please post the feedback link in the chat box. And I would request every member sitting over here to please review and write your feedback. Remember the good one in the form, because in Toastmasters, we all go with your feedbacks.
Pragya, before we actually end the session, you just asked us, I hope you've given all that you had in evaluation to the audience today. So I want to give them a quick 1 minute of what I still have and haven't given them. So dear friends, remember in your evaluation, your 3-minute structure is extremely important. Remember, you have a proper opening, a salutation, proper transitions, positive points, your recommendations, your summary, and then, as Ruchira said, maybe a personal connect that her message had on you is very important. Point number 2 is cover the speaking fundamentals, extremely important: body language, voice modulation, stage management skills, whether there was a theme, whether there was a central message. All this is extremely important. From the contest perspective, I would say try to find out one unique point which you think others may have missed out. And that is something that would give you the extra point, the winning point, I would say. The third one I would say is go deep. Don't just scratch the surface, because gold is never there on the top of the surface. It is beneath, inside the minds. So when you tell the speaker what the problem, give him the points of recommendations. Pick up points, as I mentioned, the theme, the central message, whether rhetorical language was used or not, whether vivid descriptions were given or not. Point number 4 is the what the problem, why the problem, and how the problem. This is something that I feel was a winning point for me, because I told the speaker what the problem was, why it was a problem, which fundamental of public speaking was not covered, and how the speaker could actually make the point a better one. And the fourth one is a very important and critical point is your time factor. I've seen a couple of evaluators and speakers who rush, they see the red flag and then they're rushing to summarize. Don't do that. Practice in your practice session, see that you have those last 30 seconds as a grace for you in which you're summarizing and then giving your personal impact of the speech. And the most important point is the audience factor. Do address the audience. In fact, you can address the Toastmasters. I would love if someone addresses me in the speech. So address the Toastmasters, they feel wanted, but never speak on behalf of the audience, as Pragnya mentioned. So you can say that, good storytellers transport the speaker to his story side. And I felt that I was in your story. You can't say Pragnya was in the story because I can't mind Pragnya's business. So these fundamentals helped me in my contest. And I'm very sure if these are imbibed in an evaluation, you're surely going to go levels. And the last and the most important point is again what Ruchira said. A lot of speakers say that evaluation is not something that can be practiced. But to me, as a winner, I would say I had to put in hours of effort into evaluation, trying to brush up my fundamentals of public speaking and my fundamentals of evaluation. So practice and conviction and consistency is the key. So all the best. And I look forward to one of you holding the trophy of the evaluation this time. Thank you, Pragnya.
Toastmaster Pragya, I'd like to just add one quick practical tip, which is that when we give evaluations at a contest level, we just get 5 minutes to put our points in place. So one thing that really helps us, helped me, in fact, in managing the writing and evaluation was to go to advanced clubs where you give an evaluation immediately after the speaker has spoken. So once you get comfortable giving an evaluation immediately after, even those 5 minutes at a contest can seem like a lot of time to structure your thoughts. So that's just one practical tip to help you win a contest.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ruchira, Toastmaster Preeti, and Toastmaster Naga for sharing your secrets with us. I am sure we all are going to learn a lot and apply all this into our contest. Hopefully, we all are going to get our trophies and show it to you sometime soon. With this, I will hand over now the stage to our esteemed district officer, Division Director for Division F, Toastmaster Shivani.
Hello, am I audible? Okay. Thank you, our moderator, Toastmaster Pragya, for handing over the control back to me. Wow, what an amazing session today we have witnessed. Now it's time for another section. As we all know, that participation in the contest is the most beautiful feeling in our Toastmaster journey. Am I right? Yes. But do you know what is more important or more superior than participation? Participation with preparedness. Today, we have witnessed an amazing session of evaluation mastery, which was planned for you to get the learning before participating in the contest. Any great idea is just an idea, unless well executed. And today, we have witnessed a well executed session for evaluation mastery. So for that, I would like to congratulate few members, few role players who have performed an amazing job for helping us to get an amazing session today. I would request our Zoom master to show the certificates. Thank you, Toastmaster Gayatri, for sharing the certificates. So first certificate of appreciation is for our panelist member, Toastmaster Ruchira. Can we have Toastmaster Ruchira on spotlight, please? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ruchira, for giving an insight and sharing the lot of secrets of how we can do the evaluation. Thank you so much for your presence as well. Can we unmute? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next certificate of appreciation is for Toastmaster Preeti as our second panelist, for again sharing a lot of insight. Really, those last tips and tricks also really is going to help our audience today. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Preeti, for sharing such an amazing insight of how we can do the evaluations. Can we have Toastmaster Preeti? Yes, thank you. The next certificate of appreciation is for our third panelist, who is Toastmaster Naga Shavanti. So today, thank you so much, Toastmaster Naga Shavanti, for sharing such an amazing insight and experiences of yours and how to ace an evaluation contest as well. So thank you for your presence and have a great day. Thank you. Okay. The next certificate of appreciation is for Toastmaster Pragya. Wow, she has done an amazing job as a moderator. I can't imagine a person who is, completely occupied with all the three panelists and then writing all the notes and do the summary of the, complete session. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pragya, for taking up this role and, performing to the best level. So thank you so much for your presence as well and for performing this roles once again. Now, the next certificate is Certificate of Appreciation for Toastmaster Supriya for playing the role of Sergeant at Arms. Wow. Thank you so much for having a seamless section of evaluation mastery. The next certificate of appreciation is for our timer of today's session. Well, we have actually, missed little minutes of our time, but this wouldn't have been happened if we wouldn't have this amazing person who was helping us, showing all the time the timing cards that yes, we are, leading or we are lagging, something on that note. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Vamshi, for showing us the timing card and for playing this amazing role of timer for today's session. The next certificate of appreciation is for our Toastmaster Gayatri for playing an amazing role play as Zoom Master. She was all the time, spotlighting the right person, unmuting them and helping to have a seamless session of evaluation mastery today. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Gayatri, for helping us as Zoom Master. And last not the least, to all the audience and to our program quality team who has helped us in having such an amazing session of evaluation mastery. This was a third episode of evaluation mastery, and I can really say that we have, now we are almost prepared, or you can say prep ourselves, and now we have reached to the level where we are ready to participate in evaluation contest. And with that, I would like you all to want to request to you to participate in evaluation contest which is going to come in your clubs or area level. All the best to you all for participating and good luck to you all. Thank you. With that, I would like to hand over the control to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Ujjwala.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shivani, for the wonderful words you have used for. And what an incredible, amazing session it was. When you have someone, a guiding source with an experience in your life when you are going in a path, you have less number of hurdles which you can cross easily. So that is what it was today. Our last two episodes was about how you do your evaluation and how to win a ballot. And this episode was all about learning from experience. And our three panelists share their insightful suggestions for each and everyone here. And we all somewhere felt some jittery thing before the contest. That nervousness has now gone, for me especially. And I hope it was same for you all. With that note, I would really want to thank all the three panelists, our role players, and also our wonderful audience who are here today on Saturday early morning. And I would also want to emphasize on again the feedback form. Please share in the chat box. Please share your feedback so that we can improve from your evaluation. And to remind you all, for our next education session, which would be on 18th at the same time, 11 to 12:15. And please do join. And we are also sharing a nomination form in the chat box, which will be shared now. And if you want to take up any role in the next upcoming sessions, please nominate yourself for the role. With this, I would like to give it to our Sergeant at Arms for the day to close the session. Thank you, and over to you.
I hope you had all great learnings today. And let's all meet at episode 4. The meeting is officially called off and open for networking. Thank you.
So Nagasravati and Ruchira, I had a great time along with you as panelists. Got so much to learn. So
Yes, absolutely.
Gayatri,
Really
can we
nice
stop
connecting with
recording?
all of you.
Gayatri,
Thanks,
can we
everyone.
stop recording?